Welcome back to the Triple Thread podcast. I'm Lamar.
And I'm Joey.
And we're excited for our VIP, very important
podcaster,
Coach Jeff Smith. Jeff, welcome to the Triple Thread. Not the Triple Threat.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Triple Thread. So this man is very special to a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people through the years. He has coached hundreds and hundreds of players. He still does coaching for young and old, maybe. But he was my basketball coach way back in the day at Middletown Christian. And so, Jeff, tell us. We're going to dive into some great stories. Really, we are. But tell us, kind of take us down the road of your life, where you grew up, how you ended up in Middletown, and where God kind of took you on your journey.
I'll try to make it the Cliff Notes version because I'm old. There's a lot of years there. I'm
talk
66.
Whoa!
But I grew up in Indiana for the most part, and it was. It's funny, I'm in my 60s, but I've lived in 8 decades. And I say that because I was born in 1959, just a few months before 1960.
Okay.
And if you do the math, this is the 8th decade. So I'm not near 80, but I've lived in 8 decades.
That's crazy.
But growing up in Indiana, the son of a factory worker, and he's still with me. He's 91, and he's hanging on. And we thought we lost him a couple times in the past few years, but he's hanging in there. But he raised me for the most part. He and my mother split up, and but most of my years were with him. And growing up in Indiana, and did move a few times. I said my dad kind of went through a midlife crisis, and we moved back and forth from Indiana to Virginia 5 times in 4 years.
Whoa!
So that was, but God did some things during those years that helped me and kind of propelled me. And but yeah, I grew up, thought I was going to be a writer, a sports writer, and I wrote some poetry and did some other things, but thought I was going to be a sports writer, and then couldn't shake the basketball bug, and I changed majors and ended up being a teacher and a coach in my adult life. And along the way, while I was in college, I married the love of my life, Denise, and have 2 amazing kids. One just came home from the mission field.
Yeah.
My daughter Amber serves in Kathmandu, Nepal, and she just came home for furlough last week ago Wednesday, and so it's great to have her back. And my son Dustin lives in Hamilton, and then I have 4 grandkids, 3 that live in Asia, so we're super excited to have them home now
For the year.
And then I have my little Edlin, an adopted granddaughter in Hamilton. Wow. So we're just so blessed. And,
wow. What do they call you? Do they call you Coach?
My grandkids call me Paw.
Paw.
P-A-W, P-A-W. But everybody else in the world calls me Coach. So it's. I was training my granddaughter. She wants to learn basketball the other day, and she goes, "When we're in the gym, should I call you Coach?" I said, "You just call me Paw."
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
good. That's so good.
That's awesome. What do they call Denise?
She's Mimi.
Okay.
She's
Mimi. All right.
Yeah, she's Mimi.
Mimi and Paw. So,
yeah.
So you have had your career started as a coach with Middletown Christian, correct?
Yes, I graduated from Tennessee Temple in 1984, and came to started looking for a job, and the principal there came to an education seminar down there and was looking for a teacher coach as well as an elementary teacher, which my wife did. And it was close to my hometown. My parents lived in Richmond, Indiana, and I grew up in Centerville, Indiana, but it was an hour from home, so that kind of fit. And so God put me there, and I stayed there a good while, long enough to coach you and have Trent in school. But I served at Middletown Christian as teacher and coach for a total of, I coached for 9 years, and there I did take a year off where I coached at the University of Dayton as a women's assistant. And then I went back to high school boys. My wife did not like the college life very much. And so went back to Middletown Christian, and in 1994, God moved me. And I say that because Madison pursued me to come be their basketball coach, and I was coaching at Middletown Christian. Was happy and lived by the theory of don't mess with happy, and had a really good team coming back. And we had beaten Madison the year before in their gym, and but there was some relationships there with Shay Richardson, now Dr. Shay Richardson, and he lives in Chattanooga. But his family his dad was on the school board, and they wouldn't let it go. And I told Denise at one point that God must be in this, and because it won't go away. I was running basketball camp at Middletown Christian, and the superintendent from Madison called me and said, "Hey, can we get together?" Because I'd already told him I didn't think I wanted to do this, and I said, "Yeah, can you come by basketball camp, and I'll see you when the camp ends." And he did, and so we started praying like, "God, this is not going away. Do you want me to do this?" And ultimately, I decided that's the direction he was pushing me, and we had a peace about it, and then I went out there and served for 31 years.
31 years.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah. Served 31 years there, and for the most part was head basketball coach most of the time. 23 years as head basketball coach, and 14 years as athletic director, and and PE teacher, and for a lot of those years too. So, but God put me there, and I'm confident of that.
Yeah. One of the things that I know, because there's some pastors from the church that, you've asked them, one of the things that you established way back in the day at Madison was FCA.
Yeah, we did. And we did that for the 31 years I was there. And we saw some amazing things happen, and saw some kids come to Christ, and I know we impacted life. We used to say we met every Friday, and our FCA was kind of a little different than somewhere. There was a huddle, and they would meet, and maybe long hours after school. I did mine before school, and we kind of captured the kids as they got there, and we opened it up for you didn't have to be an athlete to be a part of that. And I used to say, I don't know if they love Jesus, but man, did they love donuts.
They love donuts. That's right.
But
Feed
I
the
know
5,000.
they heard the gospel every Friday.
Yeah.
And there's a few amazing stories, but one amazing story I will tell you. We had this is my very first year at Madison, and sometimes I thought, this is the only reason you sent me out here. It was this girl named Jill, and she was coming. She'd come to FCA every Friday, and she was a senior, and I just assumed she was a believer. And she comes to me at Easter and says, Coach, I think I'm ready to take that step. What step is that, Jill? And she said, I want to follow Jesus. I want to become a Christian. And long story short, I had a Christian principal at the time. He let me meet with her, and which is unheard of in public schools, but we met during her study hall and walked through the gospel with her, and she accepted the Lord. Wow. And she was 2 months from graduating. Well, here's a cool part of that story. She's an academic scholarship to Clemson, and while she's at Clemson, she gets involved with the Navigators, ends up in Brazil doing mission work.
Wow.
And that was one of our highlights and it happened the first year we were there. Wow. But it was such a cool and moving story.
When God moves you, He moves you on purpose, and He places you exactly where He wants you, Joe.
FCA, for the people who don't know what that is.
Thank you.
Yeah, because people aren't going to know. And I'm not even positive. I'm pretty sure probably Fellowship Christian Athletes.
That's exactly it.
People won't know.
Thank you.
That's exactly right, Joe. Yeah.
FCA, which is an incredible FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Go back to it, Fellowship. Okay. There's a community of athletes and Christian athletes, and that's what we talk about, the need for community. And you were allowing people, with the donuts there. But no, you think about it, you're meeting a physical need, and there's spiritual needs being met, and that's the power that we call community, and that's the power that we call opportunity, that God would take you to a public school and you would be able to shine bright for Him, which is incredible, because you were at a Christian school, and we're going to get to that in a minute, because there's probably some pretty interesting stories. I will say this, Joe, before, because I'm sure you've got some questions for the coach. Number one, here's what you got to know. Here's what I know about Coach Smith. All right. So I knew right away. a rabid Indiana Hoosier fan. You got to be happy.
That's correct.
I mean,
football season, we were very happy.
Very
I guess
happy.
you were.
Very happy.
Very
but,
happy, yeah.
But a huge Indiana Hoosier, a Bobby Knight, like Bobby Knight was his coach, man.
Yeah. Wow.
Just And I will tell you that, kind of like that giraffe on skates, as an 11th grader, we moved from D.C., you look and you're like, that's really not a time where you start trying to play basketball. The coordination just was never there. But here's what's crazy looking back, okay? So how you've got teachers, and of course then you have coaches, and they seem like they are so much older when in reality, how old were you when you came to MCS?
I was 24 years old.
You think about that. So 24 years old, and
Yeah.
he's coaching a bunch of 17 and 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but he seemed, I guess it was just the bravado and the fire and stuff, but we would have never believed that he was, kind of like an older brother, right?
Yeah.
And you kept it that way on purpose, right? You didn't want us to know,
Yeah,
right?
we had to keep some walls up for sure. But, now that as we've all from that group has entered our 60s,
Yes,
yes. It's a different animal now.
Yeah, but so many incredible memories. Early mornings at the gym, those maybe were not as
Not pleasant,
incredible,
probably. Yeah.
but I still, Coach, look, I still remember,
got the stance,
man.
yeah.
The stance up against the wall. I remember
Wall sits,
the
yes.
wall sits,
They're
which
terrible.
they're
They're
awful.
terrible, they
I
are.
can't do it
They're
for 30
terrible.
seconds.
They're terrible, but that was part of the game. And I was thinking of the other day too. I was watching the game last night and just reminded, man, left hand layups. I couldn't do it. Like it just, I couldn't do it. I couldn't even in warm ups. I couldn't do it. But man, some
Well,
great
you're on
memories.
that run talking about your skills. Let's just talk about the first time he made a basket. I know he was a great athlete, so can we?
No, I was not a great athlete.
He had some gifts, and one thing he was big, and you can't teach length, and he was big, and I had my eye on him right away, and I knew his dad was a Georgetown Hoyas fan, and so they like the Hoyas. Get in there and play like Patrick for us. But no, he was on a really good team, and he was very inexperienced,
Very good.
and he was on had a good group of juniors and seniors, and so finding minutes was hard. We were kind of loaded up front, and he was a new player. But when he made his entrance, let me say, he made a splash. One thing, kids on our team, they loved him, and they loved each other, and they were a close group.
Yeah.
And but they loved him, Joe, and we're playing, and we jump on somebody, and we're pounding them pretty good, and we had a sizable enough lead that we could roll Lamar out there. Lamar, I call that. He had to check his pants and see if he had on gym shorts underneath. Yes, because he had the sweatpants on.
That's good.
Did I change? And so he's going in the game, and we're getting close to the end of the half, and the balls get swung around. Guess who it ends up in? You know whose hands? Lamar at the buzzer.
Yeah.
It's the halftime buzzer, but he drills it. And all his buddies go running and picking him up like guys, it's just halftime.
It's halftime.
But they're running him to the locker room and just mobbing him
carrying me off the court.
It's just a very memorable moment that I'll never forget.
man.
But they
Three-pointer?
loved their teammate and
Did
they were
have
excited.
three-pointers back then?
No.
They came in
question.
the next year. I think it
didn't
was
think
the
they
next
did,
year.
honestly.
No,
Okay,
it came in the next year. So it was a long two.
It was, and what
so
what
good.
Coach may not remember about that shot. You remember things. I got the ball. My back was to the basket, and of course in basketball, he's preaching, he's coaching square to the basket, square to the basket. So for whatever the play we were running, I was at the top of the key. I received the ball, turned around, dribbled, and literally had no time. And time was running out. Shot the ball. I wish I could tell you it was nothing but net. But here's what I remember, and it could be different. I remember it was a hard bank shot that hit the backboard and went in, and everything kind of exploded from there. And the lore of that, we were just at a reunion last year, and the story does grow. But the truth is, we write about it in the book. The truth is that they carried me off the floor And I get chills telling that story.
Yeah. My hair on my arm.
It's
That's
emotional
awesome.
because I was a part of the team. And my you know what? I felt like my job was, because he's right, my ability was nothing. There was a very good team in front of me. I had very limited minutes, but I felt like, okay, I have contributed,
Yes.
and they showed me love. And that's the beauty of community.
That is the beauty of community. I stopped coaching after the COVID year, 2020, and people asked me, "Do you miss it?" And I said, "No, there's some things I miss." And I remember the new coach who took my place invited me in the locker room, and I felt like I didn't belong, and I did, and I was happy to be in that room. But when you have a team, those are the people that belong in that locker room. Anybody else is an outsider.
Yeah.
And I missed that part of that. There's something very unique about that, and very special about that. And so I do miss that, and I miss practice. I love practice. And but
practice,
as Allen Iverson says.
Practice.
But
How important is practice?
Oh, crucial. I think that's why I liked it so much. In that, if you like building something, and I'm not a craftsman, my dad was great with his hands. He could build anything. I couldn't build a birdhouse.
Right.
But you're building every day is it's a new block. You're putting a new block on that foundation. And so I miss that, and game planning. I miss that.
Yeah,
I do miss that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the community part of it, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
I go to a great church. I've been on great faculties, but there's something uniquely special to be part of a team.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I do miss that.
What do you remember, Coach? Take us back, because seemingly my junior year, man, that was your first year. That was a good team.
Special year, and I was pretty fortunate. They hadn't had a winning season the year before, but the bulk of those players that maybe won 8 or 9 games they were still there, and they'd been through the fire, and then now they're seniors and they're hungry to win, and just the timing for me was great, because if I'd have started out with a bad group, maybe my career dies right there. But I had a good group that was ready to be coached and ready to. They wanted success, and so we worked like heck, and I practiced them hard and taught them what I knew. You teach what you know, and there was still a lot more for me to learn. But we did have a lot of success that year, and that kind of set the foundation for the years that would follow me there.
To be said, I think people need to understand kind of the complexity of my junior year, as really that, giraffe on roller skates. Our floor that we played on at Middletown Christian was a very different floor. Would you believe, Joe, it wasn't parquet? No, it wasn't parquet, was it?
It was not parquet.
It was not parquet. It wasn't even tile.
No, it wasn't tile.
There was no wood. It was, tell him, Coach.
It was carpet.
Carpet.
It was designed for gym floors, heavily in churches.
It's what is in our worship
Yes.
center.
Yes.
But it was hard concrete,
Right.
but
With carpet on top of it.
glued right to it. So
And there were
rug
companies that
burns.
existed that did this. They cut in, like when the 3-point line came in, we had to have that cut in.
Carpet.
And
Oh yes.
a great sports writer who used to be at the Hamilton paper, Rick Casano, and Rick came up with a moniker for it. We were playing a really good Cincinnati Christian team, and he had this headline, or in the story he said, Jeff Smith was expecting a hard game. They had a great player named Gary Webb, and he goes, but what he got was a romp on the rug.
Romp on the rug.
So after that, it became round ball on the rug.
Round ball on the rug.
We kept that floor until my final year. We raised some money and put a hardwood floor in the Howard Sears Fieldhouse.
Yes.
My last year was the first year that we had a hardwood floor.
Oh, my.
And yes.
The carpet didn't give much bounce.
Oh, no.
I would think not.
Oh, rug
it
burns.
was-
I was an idiot,
Oh.
young idiot coach. I did loose ball drills on carpet.
We're burning ourselves
That was
up.
some of my guys tell me they still have scars
Oh,
from that.
yeah, but
But we were going to be tough. No, you're diving on that floor. I don't care if you get a rug burn.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But yes, we had round ball on the rug.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we were able to get a new floor in there in 1993. And
Coach, you know what else I remember too, and I don't know how you had all these connections, but it was a big deal to a young player that you live with your dad's a pastor, you don't have a lot of money, but we all got somehow the high tops from Nike. Do you remember that?
We did. We got Nike shoes for the whole team.
Do you remember how that happened?
Yes. Great community member. Owned the McDonald's, Steve Posey. God rest his soul.
Yes.
Just out of the kindness of his heart, bought those shoes for our team. And his children were at Madison local schools.
That's incredible.
But he paid for every kid on our team. Got a pair of new Nikes.
No, I can imagine.
They were white with the blue, swoosh.
Yeah.
Nice Nikes. So
I think they were Air Force, Nike Air Force.
Yes.
And
did you kind of carry on that tradition through
we
people
did,
like the Posies?
And I think that we did until Steve sold his interest in the McDonald's.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did that several years for us. And for a mom and dad, it was who were paying tuition to go to school, which is no easy thing.
Yeah.
They appreciate the shoes.
What's awesome too is that was back in the day. Okay, so but now today, Coach, think about this: all the players, they're not wearing the same shoes, are they?
No, and what's
it's crazy.
It's kind of become a crazy thing, and like I know the colleges now the kids get to make their own shoe deals and stuff.
Right.
And what I did with my Madison kids, I told them, you can get any shoe you want, but it's got to match our uniform. It could be red and white or white and red or black and white. I said, it's got to match it. You come in here with green shoes, you're not wearing them.
You're not wearing them.
No.
You're not wearing them.
And
that's good.
It's got to match your uniform.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. So you gave them the ability, but it had to not look crazy.
Yes, exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we'll talk about after the break is, this guy's an incredible coach. Has coached so many. We're going to talk about some of those players that have been special for you to coach and some of those memories. But one of the things, he's a poet. He kind of stepped into that, and God's given him the gift of poetry. We'll talk about that. And then also I want to dive into the beauty of what you've seen. You talked about your daughter and your son-in-law that are serving in a faraway place in Kathmandu. So we want to talk about ministry when we come back. So, Joe?
I don't really want to pause right now. It's too good, but we'll be right back. You don't want to miss the second half. Don't forget, support. We need it. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Hey, thanks for tuning in also to this podcast for the Triple Thread. We are grateful for your support. We can't do it without you. We would not be doing this without an audience. So thank you for not only being a part of this community and taking the opportunity, but thank you for taking your time to view or to watch it. We hope you like it. We hope you tell your friends and family about it. Don't forget, every Monday at 6 a.m. it drops. You can get online and find that where you listen to podcasts. Also, if you're looking for community, one way that you can get involved is to jump on realcommunityforyou.com. Real Community, the number 4, the letter U.com, where you can be engaged, and we'll tell you more about it, what it means to be a part of this thing called community. Speaking of community, the book Dirty Big Secret is out. If you don't have a copy, we'd love for you to pick up a copy of Dirty Big Secret, where you can discover the need for community. Over 7 years writing the book. It's a labor of love, but I believe you'll enjoy it. It's a memoir, and it takes you into the real blood and guts of life and community. So you can order that today on that website through my publisher, Orange Fraser, or you can pick it up at a Baraka location near you. Again, thanks for tuning in. Can't wait to get back and join the episode. Joe, we're back.
We are back
with
indeed.
Coach Smith. Man, so many years ago. In fact, this will mark 40 years that I will have been out of high school, which makes me old.
Yes, it does.
And it affects you a little bit too?
Oh, absolutely. So you're 58?
I'm 58. That's right. I'm 50.
I can do pretty good math on kids tell me what year they graduate.
58. As a coach, what was your favorite, besides gym and all that, and maybe lunch, what was your favorite subjects in school growing up?
I liked English, and that kind of fit in with the writing.
Yeah.
And But I like that. Love history, still to this day.
Yeah.
Love history and read a lot of history.
Yeah.
But I'd say those two were my favorites. Math was a struggle.
Yeah.
And but my wife's great at math.
Yeah.
I wish she'd have been in the same high school. She could have helped me cheat.
Yeah.
That would have been a great community.
Yeah.
But no, I'd say English and social studies.
Yeah. I often kind of daydream when I'm watching a basketball game. Mm-hmm. And it always intrigues me to watch a basketball coach at a timeout. There they are, the team's huddled around, and I'm thinking, okay, are they drawing on the whiteboard? Are they just making up like a backyard play? I mean, what's going on, Coach, in those moments?
I think for the most part, you do something you've already practiced. I think it's too hard to in 60 seconds to throw something they haven't done at them. Yeah. And then they're trying to figure this out. Where am I at? And I would never use numbers on the whiteboard. I always drew the kids' initials. Like LF, you're here. Joe, you're over here. And I'd go J. And so Joe would know I'm here at the elbow. And so I always did that during timeouts. But for the most part, did not try to spring something new on them.
Yeah.
Have done some goofy things with defense a few times. But if it's an offensive thing, I felt like they had to have done this before.
Yeah.
Now I feel like, and I did this when I was in Madison, we would take, have your regular practice. But usually most coaches at the end of the practice go through their specials, which is football, has special teams. I call these special teams. Your inbounds and your last second play, or what you do if there's 3 seconds, if there's 5 seconds, what do you do? And so I would do this. We did that, but I didn't like how we kept pushing it to the end of practice, because then you'd be busy, bogged down, you wouldn't get to it. And I didn't like that. I thought, I don't want our kids to be shocked by, okay, what are we doing? So I started doing this. We would have a morning practice, and the kids wouldn't change. They just wear a T-shirt and some shoes, and we'd do specials in the morning, and I'd feed them breakfast. But for 45 minutes, all we did was specials and what we're going to do. And then I started. Now, you couldn't do that just one time,
right?
But I'd do one morning of that in our preseason, and then once our regular season started, we would move our specials to the middle of practice. So I couldn't, not do them.
Right.
So I feel I was a big believer in, you can't. There's no magic wand. I've got a magic play here. But if you're prepared, you have something that may be magic, and I think my kids expected that of me, and I think you certainly should do that as a coach.
I don't know if the rules have changed. I mean, Naismith, obviously developed this interesting game with a peach basket. I don't know if the rules have changed, but I don't remember, I watched the game last night again. I was like, I don't remember an out of bounds play where the whole team is out of bounds starting. I mean,
that's a new wrinkle. It's very cool. I would have liked to have done it, because that's been the last 3 years. It looks like a football play.
It does.
And especially if you're going full court, maybe that would have helped Duke when they lost to UConn.
Yeah.
Because they would have been spread out. Yeah. Maybe that would have helped them to go out, have 5 people out of bounds. I don't know who the first guy would have done it, but kudos to that guy.
That's incredible.
Because I think it's pretty good.
And even back to that Duke game, that Duke loss, again, so much, the players on the court, but the coach, but all that has to happen in that is they have to hold the ball, but they feel this pressure. So for you, you're screaming, and a guy of the caliber of Shire, who I love watching, he's got to be saying, or maybe not, maybe in the hoopla, he's not telling them hold the ball. They don't need to move the ball. They just need to hold the ball to be fouled.
Yeah, I don't know what went in at huddle. But I know if they just would have wrapped themselves up, the worst thing that could happen would have been a jump ball, and they had possession.
Right.
And because they're going to foul them. If they don't get a steal in the first 3 or 4 seconds, they're going to have to foul them. Yeah. And they could not even get a 10-second call because the game would have ended.
Right.
So I've been a part of, God bless John Shire, because I've lost some games as coach where we call it yellow socks. When the kids got yellow socks, they peed their pants, and they got those yellow socks.
Wow.
But it just happened to that freshman kid. He
Mullins from where? Where's he from?
Oh, that hurts. He's from Indiana.
Now tell me that story, because I'm like, he's from Indiana. Did he leave the Hoosiers?
Well, No, he played for his dad in high school,
Okay.
and he, just Indiana has been very good the last few years.
Right,
And
right.
Mike Woodson was in a hot seat when he was being recruited. Mike Woodson was still the coach,
Right.
and but UConn was already on him. He was Mr. Basketball, so it was very painful for me that he got out of the state.
Yeah.
But he, the guy who took the job at Indiana, he got it really late.
Right.
He had no chance of getting Mullins.
Right.
I was saying that every time they would play, go, come back and save us.
Yes, yes. He's
But
quite the shooter.
He really is.
Yeah,
he really
quite the
is.
shooter. You loved literature, you loved history, you loved all that. But writing, tell us, poetry is really special to you.
It is. I wrote my first poem probably, I don't know, maybe when I was 11 or 12, and it just came to me. And I tell people this, Joe, that a lot of it's in the middle of the night. The sleepless hours are the best poetry hours because your mind is clear and your emotions are a little more raw. Yeah. And with sleeplessness but I've written I've written a poem for my daughter called A Hug on the Porch, and it was about the first time I went to Kathmandu, and it was her first year there in Kathmandu, and it was just about that, a hug. And that's a meaningful poem to me.
Yeah.
And almost all of them that are. I wrote a poem about my dog when he died called The Empty Space, because he always slept on the bed next to my bed. But I've written some about basketball, and I wrote one that is amazing to me. If you guys did a Google search right now, you'd see it'd pop up. I wrote a poem in 1990. I was an assistant at the University of Dayton in women's basketball, and we had a 9-point lead against Butler at home. We lost that game, and I didn't think once I had become an assistant that losing would bother me like it did when I was the head coach. Yeah, it bothered me. And I went home that night, and I could not sleep. And it was this mistake or this mistake. And I wrote this poem called It's Only One Possession. And that poem, and I don't want to belabor this, but that poem took on a life of its own.
Yes.
And it really, and I can't tell you how it got around the world, but it did. And I've never got it copyrighted. My daughter's on me to do this. She's written some books, and she's on me to get it copyrighted. And so while she's home, we plan to do something. But anyway, it's just about how a bad turnover in the first quarter is just as bad as that one with the game on the line, and you've got to see every possession as vital and valuable. And so anyway, I wrote it and shared it with our team, and Coach loved it, and Coach Sue Ramsey, a wonderful Christian lady, and she shared it with our team. And that was our rally into the next game, which we won against Detroit Mercy. And but anyway, that poem, it just kind of leaked out. And the next thing I know, I get my coaching job. I leave that job and go to Madison. I'm coaching at Madison. And this guy comes back from an AAU tournament in Florida. He goes, "Look at this. There's my poem in this magazine." And then I found out it was in this newspaper in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And then I found all these coaches that were using it. And Kevin Durant's high school coach, Stu Vetter, used it. And I actually spoke to him.
Yeah.
It was in the UCLA player notebook when Steve Alford was out there, and it was several teams. I mean, there's several teams that have had it, and it was a big hit at the University of Michigan when John Beilein was the head coach.
Yeah.
And when I took my team up for team camp, instead of John Beilein being a celebrity, my friend Jeff Meyer, who was the head coach, the assistant coach, he goes, "Hey, Coach Beilein, this is the guy that wrote the possession poem," because he was a big fan, and he actually was on. Their assistant coach was reading it in a fire-up situation with the team, and it was on a local channel in Michigan. And I've had friends that they were at a coaching clinic, and the Butler coach is reading my poem, and my friend in like, "Hey, they're reading your poem right now." So it's
That's
and I most recently found out. I don't know if you guys know who Kim Mulkey is.
Yeah, the coach for
Dresses crazy.
yeah, the
LSU
LSU coach.
Okay.
I come to find out she used it the year they won the national championship with Angel Reese, and I just found this out.
Whoa.
There's a USA Today article. I just did a Google search for my poem and found out in 23 they had got beat by Tennessee, and right before the tournament. So she used this poem And the USA article does not mention me, but it mentions some lines from the poem.
Yeah.
So, but I knew they used my poem, and I actually reached out to her and sent her, this is what old people do. I sent a snail mail package, and I sent her some other poems that, hey, I was pleased to learn that you used my poem. Oh, wow. So I communicated, I haven't heard back. I just mailed that a week ago because I just learned about that.
It's powerful.
Coach, we call that viral nowadays.
Yeah.
My
was the hard
poem
way.
went viral.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Why basketball? What was it about basketball that's
Well,
in your mistress, sort of, right?
Yeah, it's the other woman in my life. And I think growing up in Indiana, that's part of it. Mm-hmm. You know, if you've seen the movie Hoosiers, that stuff was real. But I think, and I told you how something shaped you. Mm-hmm. When we lived in Virginia, moved back far, I also played baseball. I thought it was good. I wasn't that good. And really was just a marginal basketball player. But I get hit by a car when I'm 13. And you say, well, okay. But this kind of shaped basketball. Yeah. I got hit by a car in March, so I couldn't play baseball that spring and summer. So all I did was shoot baskets on one leg because the other leg was broken. And I just kept shooting. And just my love affair with basketball took off. And I loved playing and played at Indiana University East. When I say play, I mean I warmed up. What you were doing at Middletown Christian? that was my college career at Indiana East. I played with some really good players, and but when that ended, I went to Middletown Christian to be a coach, and so it's always been in my life. I still like the NCAA tournament is so sacred to me. Like that is my Super Bowl. I love the Super Bowl, but the first 2 days of the NCAA tournament, I have always taken off work for that.
Yes.
And, Katie barred the doors, don't let anybody in. I just want to watch the games. And
so what about the playing games? Have you ever been to the playing games?
I've been to play games at Dayton.
An incredible atmosphere.
I wish I could have been up there for the Miami.
Oh.
This year, that would have been amazing because the Miami kids said it was like a home game.
Love and honor.
And I worked there.
Yeah. Oh, no kidding.
28 years in August, yeah.
Wow. Well, that was amazing. And how the swim team got in there. And
the Speedos.
That was awesome.
It was incredible.
That was awesome.
Again,
it was so
think
good.
about this. The team couldn't be any more diametrically opposed. A swim team and a basketball team.
Right.
But their love for one another and the beauty of that whole...
And the joy it brought to that campus.
Campus was electric.
Yes.
Coach, how difficult is what they accomplished? Everybody's like, oh, it's the MAC. It doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter. How difficult is it to do?
The MAC is a really good league.
Right. Yeah.
Toledo is, they're nobody, but they are so good.
Yeah.
And Ohio U, the battle they gave them. But Buffalo is good. That league is Kent State and Akron.
Yeah.
It's one of the best mid-majors. Yeah.
Wally Zerbiak was very happy this year.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
I can spell his name.
Yes.
For
Can you
really?
really?
I can.
Yes.
That's crazy.
I don't know why. I just can't.
That was special.
Coach, what about you've had a lot of players. Give us some names of some special players that you've been able to coach. For maybe not even their basketball ability, but maybe just, what you saw.
Sure. And you're always scared to mention a name.
Yeah.
Because I love all those guys.
Well, sure.
And when they named the floor after me at Madison. And when I said my piece on that and being grateful, I didn't mention one player's name. I thanked all the players that came and told them how special that was to me. But I didn't want a kid not mentioned to feel like he wasn't special. Mm-hmm. And I'll just say this, as far as when we talk about ability, Rodney Muterspell was a special player.
Wow.
Really good player, good enough to play at Cedarville.
Yeah.
And that's one of the best small college teams in the area.
Yeah.
And but Rodney's special, just was honored by the school the other day.
Yes.
And then had this great career as a police officer. Your friend.
Yes.
So
graduated with Rodney.
Yes. Yeah. But Rodney was special. I coached, just at the end of my career, I coached a great player named Grant Wisman, who...
lives two doors down from us.
Yes, lives down the street from me. Yeah. But was a candidate for Mr. Basketball his senior year. Wow. And was recruited by Division I school. That's why we were at Michigan for one thing. I think if John Beeline had stayed...
You think he would have?
Yeah, because when Juwan Howard took the job, he dropped Grant. But Grant was kind of a John Beilein kind of player, big, tall shooter.
Yeah.
Which Beilein loved.
Yeah.
And so he ended up where he's supposed to be, I think, but he did turn down some Division I offers to go there. Yeah. And one was Ohio U, and Wright State offered him, and several of the small colleges. Yeah. But no, Grant was special, and he's just a special human being too. Yeah. A great family, as you know. Yes. And but Grant was, as far as ability, Grant was up there. And there's a kid named Pat Haberney who played at Middletown Christian. Yeah. And I remember, I don't even know if the Lebanon has a newspaper anymore. It used to have a Western
the
Journal.
Western Star or something?
Western Star, yes. Yeah. And they wrote this article called "The Best Kept Secret in Southwest Ohio," and it was about Pat Haberney, because he hears at this little small school, Middletown Christian, but dynamic scoring. I had Shea Richardson, who was Division III State Player of the Year in 1995, and has went on to have a good college career. Is now a practicing doctor in Chattanooga, and but those four guys, as far as not more important than any of the kids, but those four were special athletes. Yeah, and there's more that, when you do 33 years of that stuff, it's easy to say, oh, I forgot to mention this kid, but those four were special. And I had a kid, and you said outside of just being a good basketball player. I had a kid, and he never made it to the varsity, a kid named Brian Cook, and we have a tournament in his honor out at Madison. Brian was killed in a car accident in May of 2000. I think that's the right year. But, Brian never got to play for me, but Brian was special to me, and just he lost his life at such a young age in a car accident with he had some other kids. They were headed to open gym. And but I did write a poem about Brian. His dad and mom had asked me to do his eulogy, and I wrote a poem called "My Friend the Giant," and it's on his tombstone at Woodside Cemetery. But it's he was 5'5", and but I talked about what a huge person he was. My friend the Giant, and
wow, special times.
That was about Brian Cook. Yeah.
So for you, Coach, so many games in your memory. If you're going to have to say, here's the game that I remember the most, and it may shock us why you remember it the most, take us through that game.
There's some painful ones that still haunt me. And I will tell you this, you remember the buzzer beaters or the losses more frequently than you remember some of the special ones. But I think in 2010, 2009, 10, I had a great team, best team I ever had, and we won our first 24 games. We got beaten in the regional. We were number 2 in the state, and Taft was number 1 in the state, and we lost to Taft in the regional. They had Adolphus Washington, who would play for the Bengals, and so they were loaded. But we had a good team, and we opened our season. And this is when I say, people say, what's the best team you ever beat? This was the best team we ever beat. Dayton Jefferson would win the Division IV state championship, but during their season, they beat the Division II Dayton Dunbar in a regular season game. Wow. They were the best, maybe one of the best teams in the state of Ohio, any division. And their starting lineup they had Adrian Payne, who would play at Michigan State and then would go on to play for the Atlanta Hawks. And a great kid, God rest his soul, got killed by a gunman. But Adrian was a tremendous player, played for Tom Izzo. He was their center. They had Cody Latimer, who was first team All-Ohio basketball, but ended up being a wide receiver for the Denver Broncos and played his college football at Indiana. So there's 2 Big Ten athletes that were on that team. And they had Devin Foster, who played point guard at Penn State. They're on that team. So we played this and several more good kids. And we had a good team. But on that night, we were better than them for one. If it was a 7-game series, I don't think we'd have won. We're down 12 at halftime, and we're at home. It's a season opener, and I put them on the schedule on purpose to see how are we going to be. Yeah. And I will tell you this is incredible. We won the game by 12 points. Whoa. 24-point swing in the second half. Wow. Yep. And we started that. I remember the play we drew up at halftime. Play we'd run in practice. Okay. But we had this really good shooter named Matt Hauser, and Matt hadn't scored yet. And I told the assistant, we got to get Matt going. And he was probably our second or third leading scorer, but he's a big part of. He was our perimeter threat. So we ran this, I call it dribble loop 4 high, and we ran him off of that. He hits a 3 to start the second half, and now we're down 9. And we held them to 12 points in the second half.
What?
So and the place is packed, and Jim goes crazy, and that's a really special moment. I thought it was the best team we ever faced. I thought they were even better than the Adolphus team that knocked us out. But on that night, we were good enough.
You were good enough.
Incredible.
You were good enough. The 4 high.
Dribble loop, 4 high.
Triple loop.
And he came off a
4
high screen.
high.
That's what that 4 high is, the 4-man's high.
Wow.
And we pushed him through, and he ran up the middle of the court, hits a 3, and we just, you felt like, okay, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And that's a great memory.
One of my great memories from my time with Coach Smith. I don't even know. We were at our home court on the carpet, and I don't know if you know Randy Hensley. Yeah.
Oh, I know what the story is.
So Randy and I, you know Randy.
Oh, yeah.
Randy and I graduated. A great friend, loyal,
Yes.
love him to death.
Yes.
Randy was a good athlete. He was
Very
great,
good athlete.
Great soccer player, great goalie, great pitcher. But literally, we're in a game. I'm on the bench. Randy, in a frantic, I don't know what happened, literally he's near the hoop, throws the ball up. I mean, just kind of like just loops it up in the air, high, almost hits the ceiling of the gym
Yes.
as the ball is like doing that, like up in the air.
Yeah.
Coach is like, Randy! I mean, literally, Randy! And the ball miraculously falls through. I don't think it touches hardly any of the twine, goes right through.
Yeah.
Great shot!
And he's not getting it. Cleared one of the rafters,
It did.
like one of the metal.
Are you?
No, it somehow didn't hit the
No.
metal because then it's out of bounds.
Yeah.
Oh,
Falls right through the hoop.
Never forget
Probably,
that.
maybe the greatest shot I've ever seen.
Maybe the craziest,
Craziest.
Yeah, I'm not greatest, right.
greatest
If you ask
shot.
Randy, he said, "I meant to do it that
Oh,
way."
he meant to do it, but incredible. Oh, the times we had traveling to your alma mater, Tennessee Temple.
Yeah,
playing
playing that
that
tournament. Yeah.
and just floods and floods of memories, and we could go on. And Coach, I just want to say thank you. Your investment in my life for the wall sits. I don't know what it does in ministry, but you know what? You look back, and it was the preparation, right, for teamwork and community.
Sure.
And you know, as we kind of bring this to an end, I can't help but think about the coaching that happened on the court with the players, but I can't help but think about you and Denise and your coaching of your kids, because look at what they're doing now, and you got to be so proud of them.
I am proud, and my daughter is sacrificing so much, but she loves what she does.
Would she say that she's sacrificing?
Probably not. She knows. She knows.
Yeah.
And one of the hardest things I ever heard her say, it was hard for me to hear as a dad, is I said, "What's the best thing about serving there in Nepal?" She would tell me that. And I said, "Well, what's the worst thing?" She goes, "Sometimes I'm lonely." So as a dad, you can't. No,
Yeah.
I'm fixing this. And,
Yeah.
But I think it was more
Yeah.
not necessarily your family, but peers, like
Yeah.
girlfriends, and
Yeah.
so. But she loves her work and loves her church there, and loves the people. And I've seen it firsthand. My wife and I have flown there 6 times in 10 years, and been there for her.
That's not a quick flight either.
Oh,
is it?
it's awful. It's one of the worst things in the world.
Sounds terrible.
It's almost 30 hours.
Yeah.
And I know you've done a lot of world traveling.
Yeah.
And then my son is just he's a delight.
Musician, right?
He's a musician, and but he plays and records a little bit just for himself,
Yeah.
as much as anything. But very talented musician, and he and his wife Heather live in Hamilton, and they had no children, and he will turn 40 in June. But 2 years ago, they adopted a mixed race girl.
Wow.
And that she's been such a joy, Edlin.
Wow.
And so this pasty white family has this beautiful mixed race child.
Oh my goodness.
That's awesome.
And but she's just been a joy to us, and to see my son. And I remember telling him, a child will change you. And you know how they do. They change us for the better. They make us better because it's no longer about us. Mm-hmm. And I see him pour into her. And there's a wonderful song that Don Henley recorded. He was at one of the Eagles. Mm-hmm. And he recorded this song called Taking You Home. Mm-hmm. And it's about your child. Mm-hmm. And I sent it to my son when he adopted her. And the words are beautiful. So look it up sometime, Taking You Home by Don Henley. Yeah. And but it starts out, I had a good life before you came. Mm-hmm. I had my friends and my freedom. I had my name, but still there was sorrow and emptiness till you came along.
Wow.
And it was about getting his child. So
and truly that's a remarkable picture of what happened for all of us when Christ came in. Adopted us into his family.
One of my favorite words in Scripture is that emphasis on adoption.
Yeah, we've been adopted, and you know the beauty of adoption is that God made a choice to choose us into His family, and that's a beautiful thing. Well, Coach, again, you know, as we conclude this time together, I was thinking, you know, kind of that basketball analogy. Thanks for allowing me to be a part of a team, man. That really, in fact, I was having conversation with one of my teammates today via text. Thanks for instilling in us that hard work and that dedication that it really does pay off. You know, and thanks for all the coaching that you've done, because as you may or may not realize, these young people that are still shooting, the Jeremiahs, my nephew of today, who are, you know, just growing up, but even us old guys, you taught us some things. You taught us, you know what, you got to square up. You got to point. You got to point in the right direction. You got to get your shoulders square to the basket. You got to shoot. And as I think about that, man, we as men, we square ourselves and we look face to face with our Savior. We have to every day deny us, pick up His cross, and follow Him. And your coaching has mattered in community, and we say all the time to people who are desperately alone. You said it, your daughter. Hey, I'm lonely. What was she saying? Community is that important, and we need it. So, thanks for being so much of a part of so many of our lives, and thanks for what you continue to mean and as you coach along the way. Joe, take us out.
Coach, I'm jealous that I never got to be around you growing up. I mean, we're not that.
I made a lot of mistakes too, Joe.
We're not that far apart in age, just so we all know. But you know, I hear you talk about all the people you've coached, but I just what I heard tonight was the impact, the amazing impact you've had on people's lives. And that's what we're here for, right? That's why
God is good.
God is so good, and thank you for the blessing. Not just Lamar and I, but for everybody listening and watching.
Thank you.
I'm humbled, and I'm honored to meet you, and I hope we cross paths again.
I hope for the same, and
I really do.
Out of all those relationships, one of the great things is they forgive me too, because there's sometimes I went too far, but it was never that I didn't love them.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. In fact, this came today, and I think it's fitting. Talking to my friend, and he was one of the men that you mentioned. I said, I was just teasing him. I said, oh, you know, we'll have plenty to talk about. We may even have to do your episode when we have you on over 3. One of the subjects would be, as I'm saying to Rodney, how I carried you in basketball and made you look really good while I sat the bench. And he said, LOL. Here's what he said. To this day, I appreciate you letting me steal the glory from you. Smiley face. When I was doing that thing at Middletown Christian back in February, Coach Smith came to it, which was really cool. and we were talking about those days and how much fun they were. It was a really nice ceremony. I was impressed. And I said, Coach Smith is going to be filming an episode tonight with us, so I'm excited about that. Here's what he said. Coach is great, isn't he? We had such a good time. It was so good to see him and share some stories.
Wow.
And so guess what? Impact.
As you say.
There you go.
Yeah.
Folks, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If this isn't one of your very favorites, then I don't know. You're missing it out. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Appreciate you all. Be
We'll
blessed.
see you next time.